Welcome to America Current Affairs. We've got some massive breaking news to dive into today. Things are heating up in a big way between the United States and Venezuela, and it looks like we're on the edge of a brand new conflict.
And there you have it, straight from the president himself. That single sentence confirms a huge military escalation that's been happening behind the scenes.
You heard that right. This is a game changer. For months, this fight has been happening out at sea and international waters. But not anymore. For the very first time, the US has hit a target on Venezuelan soil. So, the big question is, how in the world did we get to the brink of war?
Okay, let's break down exactly what we know about this shocking development. What was this spark that just lit a potential powder keg? So, here's the lowdown. President Trump says we hit a big facility. Then, US officials talking to NPR pointed the finger at the CIA, saying they were the ones who carried out the strike. The supposed target, a port being used by a really nasty gang called Tren de Aragua. But here's where it gets murky. The Venezuelan government, complete radio silence. They haven't said a word. That means the exact date, the location, and crucially, how many people were hurt or killed, we just don't know. This secret strike is a huge shift in a hidden fight that's now bursting right out into the open. Now, this attack didn't just come out of nowhere. It's actually the climax of a 4-month-long military pressure campaign that's been quietly ramping up. Let's just walk through how we got here.
It all started back in August when President Trump gave the green light to use military force against cartels he labeled as terrorist groups. A massive naval fleet was sent to the Caribbean. Then, in September, the first shots were fired. A US airstrike on a boat killed 11 people. By November, things got even more serious, with a secret authorization for the CIA to operate inside Venezuela. And that brings us to this month, December, with the US announcing a total blockade of oil tankers, literally surrounding the country with a giant naval armada.
This has been a steady and, frankly, deadly escalation at sea. And there's a human cost. 107. That's how many people have been killed in these US strikes on boats just since September. And where did that number come from? Well, it's the result of 28 different attacks on vessels in both the Caribbean and the Pacific.
And just look at this map. You can see how these strikes have created what's basically a ring of fire around Venezuela. All of this has been happening in what the US is calling a shadow war.
So, why? Why is all of this happening? Well, that is the million-dollar question. And the answer depends entirely on who you ask. We're hearing two completely different stories.
All right, let's look at the two narratives. The official US position is that this is a necessary war on narco-terrorists. They claim the Maduro government in Venezuela is tied up with cartels shipping drugs into America. The stated goal? To cause regime collapse and, in their own words, make President Maduro sleep poorly at night. But Venezuela sees this very, very differently. They're calling it an illegal armed aggression. They believe the real goal is regime change, so the US can get its hands on Venezuela's huge oil reserves. So you see, the crucial point here is that both sides see this as a fight for their very survival. As you can probably guess, these actions have sent some major shockwaves across the globe. And right now, the world is deeply divided on this. I mean, listen to this. The United Nations has been incredibly direct. UN experts are saying the US blockade is violating fundamental rules of international law, and that these deadly strikes may amount to international crimes. That is some seriously strong language from the UN. And this table really illustrates the geopolitical battle lines being drawn. On one side, you have the US and its allies in the region and in Europe. But on the other side, Venezuela has some heavy hitters in its corner. We're talking Russia, China, and Iran. This isn't just a regional squabble anymore, it's a global showdown. So now that there's been a confirmed strike on Venezuelan soil, this so-called shadow war is officially out of the shadows. The biggest question of all is, where does this go from here? Well, there are pretty much 3 ways this could play out. Path 1, regime collapse. The US is hoping all this pressure makes someone in Maduro's inner circle flip, forcing him out of power. Path 2, a long, drawn-out conflict. Maduro could just dig in his heels, backed by his powerful friends, and we could see this shadow war drag on for a long, long time. And then there's Path 3, regional chaos. A full-blown US intervention could throw the entire region into turmoil, sparking an insurgency and making the refugee crisis, which is already massive, even worse. The stakes could not be higher. So it all boils down to this one question. Is all this military pressure a path to a more stable future? Or is it just the spark that's about to ignite a much, much wider war?
I really want to know what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. And for more updates on this developing story, make sure you subscribe to America Current Affairs.